Okay, the epoxy is relatively dry. It's still a little tacky, but it's been 20 minutes. I'm not going to be touching it anyway, so it'll be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and mount the engine. In order to do that, I'm going to let me move the camera just slightly so you maybe get a better picture of this. Okay. So what I'm going to do is stand up here, put the, well, alright, first off, pull up the two pieces of fuel tubing, they stay out of the way, and then just drop the right side in place. That's going to be the easiest. Okay. And with that in place, and I'm going to roughly adjust where the engine should sit. Now I can sit down, hold that. Oops. Don't kick the camera. Sorry about that. Okay. That's why I like this stand, by the way. This is called the Midwest stand-in, if you're interested. So I can hold the bolt while I screw on the nut just to get it started. He says deftly. And without dropping this nut, we'll be fine. There we go. So I'm just going to get it started a couple of turns, get the back one in place, grab a nut, don't let the engine come out. Didn't say this was going to be easy, did I? Alright, there we go. Grab another nut, start it. I practiced this, and even in practice it took a while. Okay, so now I've got two nuts started. Alright, so I'm going to set the engine back up. And, okay, that's good. Alright, now with the engine about where I want it, I can spin those nuts up so they'll hold a little better. Okay, just so that they're going to hold there loosely, nowhere near tight enough. And I'm going to put the back one on here. I'm going to drop the, I took the front bolt out, okay, and I'm going to drop that in. Okay. And I want to drop the front bolt in carefully without dropping the lock washer and washer off. And getting the plate in place. There we go. Alright, so now both are in place. I'm going to hold the front one and start it first, because it's probably going to be the hardest. Okay, front nut started, and nut is going to be started right about now. Don't drop it too many times, it'll be done quickly. Okay, so 4 nuts are started. Alright, now what I'm going to do is, and I'm going to do this off camera, what I'm going to do is slowly lock those down and make sure the engine is where I want it, toward the front of the firewall, and then I'll be back in a minute and show you how I Loctite it. One tip I'll add, before you try to tighten these down, look on the bottom like I am right here, and you need to make sure that those 4 nuts are in their recesses. Okay, so I've tightened the top 2. Now I'm going to tighten the other 2 here, and I'm holding the nut in place as I tighten that down. Don't tighten one faster than the other here. Alright. Okay, so those are, I'll call finger tight. I can see that the nuts are in their recesses, and then you can tighten it down. Be back in a minute and show you how I do the Loctite. Okay, I've tightened the 4 screws, bolts here, down as tight as I can. I visually checked each of the lock washers and made sure that they are flat and out, and so they're on pretty tight. So now to do the Loctite, it might be preferable to have the Loctite inside the nut here, but this is going to work just as well. I'm going to put a bit of Loctite just on each side of the bolt where the nut is, because what you're trying to prevent, this Loctite will ooze a little bit down into the nut. But really what you're trying to do is prevent the bolt from backing out, and with the Loctite there, so I've put Loctite on both sides of the bolt, and I'm going to leave it sitting upside down like this to let that Loctite dry. It takes a while for it to dry, but I wanted to get dry enough so it doesn't just start dripping elsewhere. So that's how I do the Loctite. You can see here how the fuel tube for filling it is in a good position, and I'll turn it over here. The 2 tubes on the top, this one will reach to the white one will reach to the muffler there. This one will reach around here to the nipple, but don't forget I'm also going to install a fuel filter, and I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. Be back in a second. Okay, I'm going to point out that the high-speed needle valve sitting here is, you can't turn it without some assistance. The OS engine that I bought comes with this knurled little knob with a set screw in it. Comes with this wire, and what they want you to do is put that in there and have it stick out, and I don't find those as easy to use, so I'm going to use a 1.5 millimeter Allen wrench. I buy these 5 at a time in a small pack that costs $5 off the internet somewhere. And so we're going to have to turn that set screw, turn the needle valve enough to get the set screw up. So here's the set screw on the needle valve. I'm going to open it up, insert the Allen wrench right here, And just for grins, I'm going to make it up at the 12 o'clock position, but it's not going to be exactly 12. Now I wiggle the Allen wrench as I tighten the set screw down. And that might get a bit of Loctite later. I'll see about that. Okay, so now that's the way you're going to adjust your high-speed needle valve. And later on, when we talk about tuning the engine, I'll show you how many revolutions out to count and so forth. But now we've got an easy way to turn that high-speed needle valve. So that's it for the needle valve, and I'll put on the muffler next.